Hello, hello, hello. This is Gresh from the I Am CEO podcast, and I have a very special guest on the show today. I have Latasha Brooks. Latasha, excited to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Yes, I'm excited as well too. Latasha's doing so many awesome things, so super excited to kind of dive a little bit in, hear a little bit more about some of those awesome things. But of course, before we do that, let me read a little bit more about Latasha so you can hear about those awesome things. And Latasha Brooks, founder of Coach Brooks Business Consulting, is a trailblazing entrepreneur celebrated for her dynamic role in shaping the business landscape. As a visionary leader, Latasha spearheaded the first ever co-working space in Virginia, demonstrating her commitment to fostering collaborative environments. Specializing in business development, Latasha's consulting experience has empowered numerous entrepreneurs, leaving an undeniable mark on the industry. And she goes by Coach Brooks, and she's a wealth of knowledge and information. If you check her out on social and just about anywhere, she's always dropping gems and knowledge. But one of the things that really stuck out with me, she says, we often learn that life is the choices that we make. And I was listening to her say that she didn't choose entrepreneurship, but entrepreneurship chose her at the age of 12. And I love everything she's doing, all the gems and information she's dropping. So, Latasha, are you ready to speak to the IMCO community?
I am, and I love that you did your research. I love that.
Yes, absolutely. Well, you're doing awesome things. So there's just so much I wanted to kind of dive into, but I guess just to kick it off, let's rewind the clock a little bit, hear a little bit more on how you got started, what I call your CEO story.
Oh God. So you said it, I did not choose entrepreneurship. We didn't have entrepreneurs in our family. We didn't even know what those were, but my sisters are very talented and I am the baby girl. And so I'm the youngest sister and my sisters were doing everything. I mean, they stepped, they cheered. I mean, they did everything you can think of. With them being in high school and me just entering middle school, they saw things in me that I didn't see in myself. And that's always been my life, that people around me saw the greatness in me that I didn't see in myself. And so I was auditioning for a I love to dance. If you follow me on TikTok, that's how I get people attention, by dancing with things that they can relate to. And so I was auditioning for our largest theater in Florida. And the day of my audition was the same day my sister needed me to do something with her groups and her businesses and stuff. And I had to pick me and my best friend both. And she was crazy enough to pick what I picked, which was help my sister versus us going after our dreams. And even to this day, I always think about how life would have been if I would have decided to do dance versus helping my sister, because I tell everybody, if it was not for the people around me that saw that greatness in me, I would not have been instilled with the secret weapons that I'm instilled with now, because I just didn't know no better. I was young, I didn't understand how those things were going to prepare me for life. And so I'm extremely thankful. But I do want to know if I could have been Beyonce's dancer, or Chris Brown background dancer. I still want to know, if that could have been possible. But entrepreneurship has literally changed my life.
Yeah, absolutely love that. If you follow on TikTok, then definitely you can say, yes, you could have done Chris Brown, Beyonce, all the things. And I definitely will say I see that greatness as well in you. But I think that's so powerful because I often say like your environment will determine your altitude. And I think we don't realize like the people that are around us, things that we're consuming might be podcasts, books, going to
Yes.
conferences, whatever it is, that can determine, that creates a reality sometimes when we don't even believe that that could be possible. It's like,
Yes.
oh, everybody's doing it. Well, that means I can do it. So it starts to
Yes.
create that environment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, you have to be careful who you hang around,
Mhm.
and growing up, people tell you that, but, it's like, whatever, that's my friend. My friend
Right.
chooses to do whatever my friend wants to do. But you do begin to become them. You inspire, whether it's good or bad, because sometimes we don't know what is good or what is bad. And so hanging around the right people can bring out those things in you that you just didn't even know. You just don't know.
Yeah, that's why it's so powerful that I think the route that you chose, and it's so funny that at that time we could think that we didn't choose our dreams, but in reality, the steps that we took allows us sometimes to meld our dreams in a completely different way, where you get to impact and make
Absolutely.
that impact in such a different way, and still get to tap into the dancing and all those things that kind of help
Right.
promote people.
That's why I say like God work in mysterious ways, because when
Uh,
I got on TikTok, I didn't get on TikTok for me. And I didn't get on TikTok for business. At the time, I didn't have a YouTube. I wasn't selling anything to anybody. I wasn't even prepared. So that's one of the things that I help entrepreneurs with now. Be prepared, because you never know when that's going to be your moment. And so when I got on TikTok, it was because I have kids. I have two kids, and one of my daughters was a preteen. So she loved dancing. I'm like, you're not going to be on an app that I know nothing about that I'm going to be on too. And so we literally did a TikTok together and it went viral. So if you talk to my
Mm.
16-year-old today, she will tell you she made me the star that I am today. She thinks all the credit is from the video her and I did together, but it was crazy because at the time, even though I was a business owner and I ran multiple companies at the time, I didn't know the power of social media. And
Mm.
so it was literally my content that was able to birth other millionaires because they knew what to do with it. I didn't know what to do. Creating a YouTube was too much work for me. Selling something to these strangers. I'm like, I don't know these people. I'm not selling them nothing because I didn't realize like this is business too.
Yeah.
And so my life and story is just so crazy because I know there are so many people that can relate where I tell people now one video can change your life. One product
Mm.
can change your life. One service can change your life. And we need to be prepared to know what to do with it. And a lot of us don't.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is why it's so powerful, though, the work that you do. So I wanted to drill down a little bit more, hear a little bit more on how you're helping the people to be prepared and what that looks like, and you making that impact in these entrepreneurs and business owners, and probably even people that want to be entrepreneurs and business owners' lives.
Yeah, so I always tell this story because it's a true story. Like everything about me is raw, authentic, and organic. Even this interview with you, at the beginning you're like, you want me to send you the questions? I'm like, no. I like hit me with it. Let me
Yes.
give you my best.
Mhm.
And so my sister growing up, like I was always helping people, but I didn't know I was helping people. And so my sisters had their businesses, right? And I worked with them. And then I got married and I moved off military and I went to a
Mm.
whole nother state. And here I go. I'm a big girl. I don't need you. I can do this on my own. I don't like the way you're doing stuff anyways, right? This is
Right.
every person, every human. And I started a business and I didn't have a clue what I was doing. Because what I did not realize was that my sisters and all the people around me were protecting me. The things that I
Mm.
didn't want to do, I didn't have to do. The things
Mhm.
that kept them up at night, I got to sleep. I got to do the fun stuff, which was the creative stuff that I thought, was all it took to business. And then I had a very quick reality check. And then my pride wouldn't allow me to go back and say, help me. What was the stuff
Yeah.
that you did? And then I kind of felt like at a point that I didn't have any help. And that
Mm.
is a very depressing place to be when you're trying to do something great, when you know you are great, but you don't have anybody supporting you, helping you. And the people that you thought were going to buy your products, buy your services, those people are nowhere to be found. And so I found myself struggling for a long time, trying to run a business, go to school, be a wife, be a mother. I mean, I was dropping the ball everywhere. And
Mm.
so when I birthed Coach Brooks Business Consulting, which is actually a DBA of one of my parent companies,
Mhm.
I birthed that out of passion and experience because I said I did not want the people around me to feel like I felt when I first started my business because I didn't have anybody to help me. And not only did I not have anybody to help me, I didn't have real life examples and I didn't have anybody that looked like me
Mm.
and so that bothered me. I'm like, how can you help me when you can't relate to me? Or how
Right.
can you help me when you haven't seen the struggles that I've seen? And it's like it really did bother me. And so it was a curse and a blessing at the same time because at some point I thought I was supposed to help everybody. And I had to realize more lessons in business that my assignment is not everybody. It's impossible for me to help everybody. And so I've had to learn through business, through knowledge, through experiences, through other people, through my mentors, through my coaches, is that yes, you want to serve. But serving doesn't mean you got to do it for free. And serving doesn't mean you got to serve everybody because you can't. You
Mhm.
will kill yourself trying to help and serve everybody in the world. It's just impossible.
Yeah, I think there's a quote that says, "If everybody is your target market, nobody's your target market."
Yes,
When you lean on that.
so true.
Yeah, and, that word I'm gonna go back to that you talked about being prepared and that preparation, I almost feel like the reality of what you went through, that, experience, and like you said, like, having that pride and that ego and not allowing you
Yes,
to ask questions, I almost feel like that was preparation for everything that you're doing now. So I think sometimes when we think of preparation, we can think of, okay, we have to go through all those things, but
right.
sometimes it's also leaning into people that have had those experiences, learning from
Oh,
them, listening to them, taking that pride and pushing it away so that we can, at the end of the day, succeed and make an impact.
well, and I always tell people I'm a cheat code.
Mm.
It's like I have mentored over at least 1,600 people now.
Nice.
single-handedly, right? And so what I tell people now is that when my mentees come to me and they tell me, Coach Brooks, I just invested $15,000 in so and so, and they didn't help me do nothing. You know what I'm doing? You said you did what? With who? When? How? What did they promise? Let me know what that looked like, because now I'm going to learn from you. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs and small business owners don't realize that it is very powerful when you can get that skill set that you learn how to learn from others. You ever been around somebody and they like, your situation is not my situation. And just because it happened to you don't mean it's going to happen to me. I don't care
Yes.
about none of that. Okay. I'm just saying that right now. I'm like, wait, what happened to you? Okay. How did it happen? All right, now let me figure out how I can make sure that never happens to me.
Mm,
Because we sometimes be in a little bubble. And it's like, how they say knowledge is power. It really is power. If you know better, you do better. If it happened to my best friend, I promise you I ain't gonna let you get me like that. And so
right.
we have to start talking to more people, because learning from people experiences is just, it's so helpful in so many ways. And like you said, had I reached out to the people I know, that have been through things, but you also have to think about it too. Me being the baby girl, I was protected. I've always been protected all of my life.
Mhm.
And so even when bad things happen, I didn't always necessarily know about it. And that's
Mm,
another piece of my puzzle of why y'all get the good, the bad, and the ugly with me. Because I never want you to think life is so great, life is so perfect, no, not in my life and nobody else's life that I know of. And that's why I'm so vocal about the good and the bad that happens with entrepreneurship, because I know I was protected and people didn't tell me the horror stories. So in my mind, everybody's a good person. Everything in business is so great. There will be no falls. And the first time I fell, I think I stayed down for too long because I didn't know that
yeah.
falling was normal. I
Hmm.
did not know that you're going to fall and you get back up and you might fall again 10 more times before you're able to stand for 10 minutes, and then you're going to fall again. That's because I was protected. And I don't want anybody to feel like it's going to be a smooth ride, because it's not. It's a roller coaster. You're going to be scared when you get on. You don't know what direction it's going in. You might drop. You might come up real quick, but you might drop again. It's a roller coaster. It's scary and it is hard. But once you figure it out, you laughing and crying and smiling and getting right back on again, because it's an
Mm.
experience and it's a joy that comes with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of times when you figure out the game completely changes and it's something completely
Oh,
different that you have to learn all the way from scratch.
that's one of my sayings too. I tell people to learn the rules of the game before you start playing.
Mm.
And I'm really good at Monopoly. I've always been good at Monopoly, but I ain't gonna lie, I'm a cheater in Monopoly. When I'm playing with my kids, I cheat because I know they don't know the rules. And so it's so crazy to me how life can teach you things through other things. And Monopoly is such a dangerous game. You learn how people move. You start creating strategies. You paying attention to things. You're buying up stuff. It is such a dangerous game. And if we take Monopoly concept and apply it to life, if we read the rules, you ever played a board game and you didn't read the rules first and
Yeah.
then you mad, especially Uno. We still trying to figure out Uno 13 decades later. We still don't know how to play. And it's crazy that sometimes we like to skip steps. And if you skip that entrepreneur step of reading those rules to the game before you start playing, you're gonna be broke. Okay. Because I steal
Mhm.
all the money from the bank, and the another thing that I realized with Monopoly is I've never played and the bank ever ran out of money. So
Mm.
even in the midst of Monopoly, like they got the game on lock. The bank to me is the government. They've never ran out of money. We trillions of dollars in debt, but we never ran out of money. And so I try to teach people that if you apply these things to life, if you apply what you learn in corporate America to entrepreneurship, if you apply the things that you are learning through relationships and friendships to your everyday life, you will learn so much and you will save yourself so much time, headache, and money.
Nice. I absolutely love that, and I appreciate you, especially that analogy to Monopoly. I too am that person that's crushing everybody in Monopoly, and I read
Oh,
all
you
the
do you
rules to make
cheat?
sure.
Tell the truth now. Tell her.
I won't put that on camera because I feel like that's
Oh,
gonna come back to me.
oh man, nobody ain't gonna want to play with you no more. We don't play.
Exactly.
I just want you
Exactly.
to know that. Ever since I told my business, we don't play for Christmas anymore.
Exactly, exactly. I love that though, but and I love you talking about like learning the rules and especially around that government contract. I know that's a lot of the lane that you play in and kind of help support people to learn and know those rules
Yes,
because there's a big opportunity. I think in an interview you said, and I didn't even realize this, that they're the biggest customer for businesses, and sometimes we don't even realize the
in the
game, or even
world.
that we can't even play that game. So could you take us through a little bit more on how you're serving your clients there, how
Oh,
you're working with them, and then a little bit about like what you feel like makes you unique in your secret sauce?
yeah. So I think it was mind blowing when I realized that the government is the number one customer in the world. You know, nobody ever told me that. I didn't learn that in school. I didn't learn that in college. None of my friends that I hung around even knew about this customer. And the more I studied this customer, the more it shocked me that they've been around for since the 1800s. And
Mm.
that's how these corporations are killing it. I literally took a screenshot. I'm gonna post it today of Lil Wayne telling the government that he's drug free so that he can continue to get government money. And I just thought, if Lil Wayne can lie and say he don't do drugs and get government money, I mean, anybody can get a contract. And
Right.
so it just blows my mind to know when you think about it, when you research the government, and they will tell you that they are the number one customer in the world. They're the most sustainable customer and the most reliable customer. Now, I don't know why they be lying to me if they're reliable, but I'm gonna use their words that they use because they ain't disappointed me yet, right?
Right.
But they are the only customer that literally gets billions of dollars every 12 months.
Mm.
And the more I studied this customer and the more I said, I don't know nobody else. I literally do not know anyone else that I can guarantee count on going to pass a budget by law and be able to spend a percentage of it with small businesses, minority owned businesses, veteran owned businesses, women owned, but there is no other customer that exists. And I'm thinking to myself, I know what the problem is. Nobody talks about it. That's the problem,
Mm.
right? Nobody in my community, nobody at my school. I mean, I went business administration, you know, bachelor's. And now I think the beginning part of that degree should have been you should be working with the government. Hey,
Right.
this is how you're gonna change your life. And it wasn't, you know. And it shocks me that people just don't know how powerful they are, but also how they can change your life. And so when I'm
Mm.
talking to people, I am always explaining to people that contracting with the government is game changing, it's life changing. However, it is not easy. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. Everybody can't contract with them, you know.
Mm.
And so it's very important for you to be careful who you learn government contracting from, because not everybody contracts with the government. You got a lot of people teaching it, but not everybody contracts with the government. Therefore, like I said earlier, it's hard for you to learn something from somebody that they're not doing themselves. And
Right.
so a lot of people are getting sucked up into the yes, I love this customer. Okay, I would brag about this customer. I don't agree with some of the stuff that they do, but I've also had to realize that they're a business. The United States is a business, and as a business owner, I recognize business when I see some of the decisions that they make that I necessarily don't agree with. I've also had to learn the rules. I've also had to learn who make what decisions. And the people that I was mad at all the wrong people because I didn't realize they did not hold the power that I thought they held.
Mm.
Therefore, learning the rules of the game can help you become extremely powerful. Now, what makes me different from everybody else is because I live this life. I actually contract with the government. I am getting down and dirty, and I am going through some of the same things the people that look like me go through, and some of the same struggles that other people had to go through to even try to get to know this customer. And what also makes me different is that I'm very honest and authentic. You
Mm.
know, and so I am not the one for you to come to and be like, hey, I want to work with the government. I just want to make a lot of money. I'm not your mentor. I'm not your coach. Working with the government is not about you making a lot of money. Working with the government is about you solving a problem for them. And part of our problem is we tend to say the wrong things out our mouths. If you come to
Mm.
me and you say, oh, they get $710 billion a year, I want at least 100 billion of it. I'm not your mentor because I don't want you to think you got to go after the whole pie. I want you to learn how to get a piece of the pie. If I get less than 1% of the 7 billion budget, my life is still changed, you know. And so again, I think is very important for us to be careful who we allow to help us get to that next level, because some people can't help you actually get to the next level. Some people are helping you staying stuck because, you know, to be honest with you, in the entrepreneur world, we see everybody as competition. I don't see everybody as competition because I work with the number one customer in the world. Their money is unlimited. There is no competition. I'm going to get paid regardless. If you getting paid, I'm getting paid. Or if a million other people was doing what I'm doing, we still going to all get paid. And so I think it's a little bit different for me because I really understand this customer. I've really studied this customer. My life has really changed by this customer, and I'm still struggling with this, with working with this customer to this day, because that's another thing. There's a misconcept out there that, oh, it's easy to work with them. Oh, you can get whatever you want from them. Oh, go work with the federal government. I hate the federal government. Okay. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Those are the big boys. I tell people they play nasty. All right. And a lot of times people don't understand the government is a male dominated industry. When I
Mm,
go to places, when I go to the networking events, when I go to the opportunities that can, give me another opportunity, I'm the only one that look like me. And most of the time, I'm the only
mm,
woman. And
mm,
so I'm coming into these male dominated industries where I got to get my stuff together real quick or they're going to run me up out of there.
mm.
And so these are the real life struggles that I'm still dealing with, even after a decade of working with my favorite customer. I just had to learn the rules of the game. And while everybody out there is trying to run after federal, I'm playing in my local and state lane because that's where I feel safe. And that's where they know me and that's where they love me. And that's where I can make the most impact. So again, what makes me different is just the way that I do things. I move differently, but you got to remember, I was instilled in things when I was younger. My character, my integrity, the way that I treat people, those things was instilled to me when I was younger. So it doesn't matter how much money the government have. I am not going to let them control me. I am not going to let them make me do things that I don't want to do. And I am not going to let anybody to persuade me or to change who I am. And so I don't have to chase money because when I think about the government, they tell you where it's going and who it's going to. I don't have to chase the money. I just have to realize that the people that I'm working with are actual people that I can solve a problem for. And that's just what makes me different.
Nice. I absolutely love that. And you always want somebody that's taking their own medicine, so to speak, and being able to
Yes.
kind of be the doctor because they've taken their own medicine. They know that this
Yes.
works and they're going through not even have experienced it, but like I think regularly realizing like the changes I imagine that happen and,
Ooh.
and keeping the temperature on what that looks like so that you can be that physician to other people and be able to say you should do X, Y, and Z, you should not do A, B, and C because this is what I've been doing, this is what I've learned. Just so many of those things really go a long way.
Well, and you got to think about the government. Every 4 years, we got a new chief in charge,
Mhm.
and they want to do it their way. Every 2 years, we got new local people in charge. We got to solve problems every single year. We have what is called crisis. We got national crisis, then we got local crisis, and that stuff changes. And then every 4 years, when somebody else come in charge, they're bringing a whole new staff with them. And so it's a lot of adapting, it's a lot of keeping up, it's a lot of, most influencers follow trends. I don't
Mhm.
follow the trends, I follow the government. Okay, what is trending with the government? Okay, what is, because a lot of people don't realize everything with the government is public records, right? It's just that's how it works. And so people look at the news to get their news. I look at the news to figure out what's going on with the government so I can figure out how I can solve a problem for them. I don't allow the news and the media to influence me to make a decision. I allow the news and media to educate me on what was going on behind the scene that I didn't have a clue was happening, because most of that stuff is out there already. When you think about the agencies you want to work with, all of them are on social media. When you think the government is people just like us, they're humans. And so they're watching us on social media. They are scouting people from social media. They're looking you up, they're researching you, they're humans, and they also make mistakes too. And so one of the biggest problems for me is that if I know you're wrong, or if I know that you're trying to make me do something that I know ain't really legal, I'm gonna tell you.
Mhm.
If I know that you gave that contract to your friend because that was your friend, I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna fight it. I'm gonna attest it. I'm gonna appeal it. Because I know the rules of the game. So they're human. So everybody ain't treated fairly. Everybody. It's not easy for everybody. But you still gotta know at the end of the day, the government don't want to take a risk on you, and you don't want to take a risk on the government. If it's not something you cannot do, you shouldn't be bidding on it. If it's not a problem that you truly can solve, then walk away from it. And every contract is not for you. Every opportunity is not for you. And as humans, we can only handle so much. When I teach people not to try to go after the whole pie, it's because I need you to understand your capacity. Don't go out there trying to get 10 more contracts when you just landed three and you could barely handle those three. That's enough for
Mhm.
contracts right now. Get the
Right.
ones off your plate that you got right now, and then you go after more. But again, that is constantly training. that is constantly keeping up, that is constantly, being just true to yourself and not letting this money change you, because it changes a lot of people. But you can't let that do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I often say if you run your own race, you can't lose. And I think so many times
Yes.
when we're tapping into that abundance and realizing there is enough opportunity, you don't have to get the whole pie. You can be comfortable with that slice because that slice is going to help you break through the noise, I imagine, help you
Yes.
do what you do better than anybody else because this is your race. But if we
Yes.
try to get the whole or run all the races, that's
Right.
when we start to like have our essence, our secret sauce, our superpowers distilled down, and we're not as impactful as we could be.
Yep. I agree with you 100%.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I wanted to switch gears a little bit and ask you for what I call a CEO hack. So this could be like an Apple book or even a habit that you have,
Wow.
but what's something that makes you more effective and efficient?
For me, it is being in a safe community. And so when I had to build my own communities, okay? And unfortunately, even up until last year, I had this realization, and I had been investing a lot of money into a lot of people because I got sucked up into that social media marketing world, or that lifestyle people were selling. And so I had all these people make me all these promises that they really could not keep. And so prior to that, I had already had my communities, but I didn't realize how safe my communities were. And I didn't realize how powerful the impact I was making on people because I didn't know what was already out there. And
Mm,
so once you start, I always tell people you appreciate the good once you go through the bad. And
mm,
so once I started joining some of these other communities and I realized what was out there, I appreciated my community more, and they appreciated me more because they had to go through some things. But having that safe community, we learn so much from each other. Like, just knowing that you're not the only one going through some stuff, just knowing that somebody might have a resource that can help you and can save you time and save you money. And just knowing that you got a place that you can show up and ask questions, and go to networking events together, or to help you prep, or to get on a Zoom to make sure you're ready for an interview, or to look at your resume or look at your capability statement. Just knowing you have a safe space that's not about the money, that's not about taking advantage of people, that's just a good space, is game changing. Because I tell my mentees, although I'm the coach and I'm the mentor, I need them just as much as they need me. They help me be more consistent. I got to show up even when I don't want to show up, because I got people relying on me. They help me be more transparent and, and honest and authentic, because I'm like, these people are not going to learn if they don't know it's happening to real humans. It's not just stuff you're seeing on television, and then I help them in so many ways that I just didn't even realize how much I help them. I always tell people, ask your community, what makes you different, and ask your community why they spent money with you. And
mm,
anytime my community is answering this question, it always fuel me for another year or another 2 years or another 3 years, because I am hearing real life testimonials of how I'm changing people's lives and how the things that I'm doing and just even sharing my life is helping other people. You don't realize that until somebody actually tells you. So for me, that CEO hack is having a safe space where I can just be me, and I can still change lives and keep my assignment going, but also still get paid for doing it,
yeah.
because I am serving, but serving doesn't necessarily mean you got to do it for free.
Yes, I absolutely love that. And the word that was kind of coming to my head is symbiotic, where sometimes we don't realize that by us doing the things that we're doing, we can help people. And also those people by being impacted are also helping us. And it just creates this, cyclical kind of, win, 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 win,
Yes.
opportunity. And we don't
Yes.
realize that sometimes until, like you said so well, till we go outside of our community and realize that no, this isn't it. Let
Right.
me realize and realize this grass is green, and just as green as
Right.
it needs to be, and we're gonna keep
Right.
watering, we're gonna keep planting, we're gonna keep doing all the things so that we continue to make that impact on a deeper level.
Yes. And we do think the grass is green on the other side. I mean, that can apply to so many areas in life, but it
Mm.
applies in entrepreneurship as well. I always tell people, you don't need 19 coaches. And most of us, we'll go to this coach and we'll go to this coach, and because we feel like we're missing something. And that's how I discovered and I started teaching people 2 years ago now that you are the secret sauce.
Mm,
For so long we have been, you know, longing from something from humans that if you dig deep inside of you, it's been there all along. We might need a little motivation, we might need a little pick me up, but the things that we seek from humans is necessarily is not what we think we need from them. It's because internally we didn't realize you are more powerful than what you think you are. And so I started teaching people, you're the secret sauce. Stop wasting your money or making all these bad decisions because you feel like, oh, he got it, I'm gonna go over there to him because he got it and he's gonna. Well, what about what you got inside? What about the things you've been capable of doing, you just haven't done them? And so it's so, life is so crazy, but sometimes it's all worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then just like that realization that we're looking for that door to be open, there's doors all the way around us that are open.
Yes.
And we're not realizing that we need this or we need that, but
Yep.
actually everything we have is within and we can do a
Right
lot
there.
more than sometimes we realize. Would you consider that to be what I like to call your CEO nugget? A little bit more word of wisdom or piece of advice. I like to say it might be something you would tell your favorite client, or if you happen into a time machine, you might tell your younger business self.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If we just take the time to apply, like think about it. A lot of people during COVID time, we went and got a whole bunch of knowledge. You're just sitting on all of this knowledge and you have yet to take time to actually implement the things that you learn. It's because you don't trust yourself that you can do it,
Mhm.
or you don't realize that you have the power to do it, or you already have the skill set to do it. You just need to implement it. A lot of our problems is implementation. That holds us back. That self-doubt. It holds us back so bad. My husband cannot stand it when a package come in the mail and I won't put it together. I already doubt myself that I ain't gonna understand the tools that I'm gonna need to put it together. I'm gonna put it together backwards. And all he told me is just try. Baby, if you try, now if you get stuck, reach out and ask for help. I got you. I ain't gonna let you fall. But you don't even try. I don't. I don't
Mm,
even try because I've already convinced myself that I can't do it. I'm not a
mhm.
handy girl. I know nothing about the tools. But when something comes in the mail, 9 times out of 10, it comes with instructions. 9 times out of 10, it comes with pictures. It comes with words. And now in 2024, it's coming with videos that you can scan the QR code and it's going to show you like it. Life has changed. So, if you take some of those things that you've learned in the past and apply it to what's going on now, you're a little bit more powerful than what you think you are.
Yeah, and that ends up being a, really, powerful statement because I think that that implementation that you talked about, and I was even thinking of execution because I think so many times there's a million ideas of what to do, how to do it,
Yep.
but there's not as many executors, people that can grow, can open up that package and say, hey, I may not go together right, but I'm gonna
Right.
unscrew whatever I got to unscrew, look at whatever video or call whatever hotline or chat or
Yep.
whatever, and
And
figure
keep
out
going.
exactly how to get this to where I want to be.
Yep. And you know what's the problem with that is that we don't have accountability.
Mm,
My husband holds me accountable. If I say, and I tell people this all the time, I never tell my family I'm going to cook anymore.
mhm.
I would never forget a time I told him I was gonna cook Sunday dinner. I hadn't told him the whole spread. I'm gonna cook y'all some macaroni and cheese. I'm gonna fry some chicken. We got some cabbage, rice, yams, all the good stuff that they all like, right? It was a good idea on Friday, but when Sunday came and I was tired, I didn't feel like doing it anymore. And I remember thinking that, oh, I made it to 3, and nobody said nothing. And no lie, my children and my husband was like, hey, babe, you still gonna cook? And I said, no way, y'all set me up and waited to 4 o'clock for me to cook macaroni and cheese, fried chicken. And I gotta go to the store. I never even went to the store because I didn't really believe they were gonna hold me accountable for the things that
Mm.
I said I was gonna do that I didn't do. So if we have more people in our lives that's holding us accountable, we will get better at executing. Because we got people that's going to say, hey, girl, did you start that business like you said you were? Did you apply for that grant like you said you were? Did you fill out that form that you said you were going to do? Hey, girl, because sometimes we let people off too easy. My family wouldn't let me off that easy. And I was up 11 o'clock at night. We ate dinner and it was really good. But I thought I had escaped because they
Yeah.
let the whole day go by before they reminded me of the things that I said I was going to do that I did not do.
Yeah, I feel like that comes full circle into like everywhere you got started because you talked about like how your family members, your sisters, and we're saying like, hey, we see this greatness in you. They knew
Yep.
that hey, this dinner is about to be amazing, so we want to get this in as much as possible. So we're gonna hold you accountable to that to make sure that that happens, right on time. So want to ask you now my absolute favorite question, which is the definition of what it means to be a CEO. And our goal is to have different quote unquote CEOs on the show. So Latasha, what does being a CEO mean to you?
Oh my God. Being a CEO is hard. Okay. And so for me, it is, especially because I have many CEOs, I have little CEOs. I have a 16-year-old CEO, I have a 2-year-old CEO, I have a 10-year-old CEO. And so for me, being a CEO, you have to be a good influencer and a good leader, because there are people that is always watching you. And there is people that look up to you. There's people who want to be like you. There's people who want to hit the milestones that you hit. And so you have to make good decisions, and you have to know you always got eyes on you. So you just have
Mm.
to be a good leader, you know? And so for me, that it's just all about leadership. Being a CEO is just being a good leader. Coming with that title, CEO, that some of us give ourselves, or we earn, just know that it comes with a large responsibility of leadership. And so, but I take on the challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. But I love that just because you talk about the reality of what it is. And I think so many times, like we talked about before, we don't sometimes understand that and realize that there's the good and the bad. Sometimes more bad than there is good. But just stepping
Yes.
into that, you realize that in order to make that impact, in order to be a leader, you step into that journey, you accept that responsibility, the
Yep.
opportunity, because you know what it is. You may
Yes.
not know everything about what it is, but you
Right.
know some of what it is, but you start to say that, okay, this is what I can do to make that impact, to lead, to impact generation after generation after
Right.
generation sometimes. And that's when you really know that you're stepping into being a CEO.
Yes. Yes.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, Coach Brooks, truly appreciate that. What I wanted to do now is pass you the mic, so to speak, just to see if there's
Okay.
anything additional that you can let our readers and listeners know. And of course, how best people can get a hold of you, find about all the awesome things that you're working on.
I just want the audience to know that it's never too late. You can start at any time. It doesn't matter how many times you hit the reset button. This can be your best year ever. Doesn't matter what you've been through. Doesn't matter how many no's you've heard. It doesn't matter how many people you've let down. You can always start over. And so, for any of the audience that's feeling like, I've tried, it didn't work, or, my time is up, I'll leave you with this. Both of my grandmothers died in their 80s. One was 85, one was 83. I'll be 36 this year.
Hmm.
And so I was talking to my godmother, and she's in her 60s. And in my mind, I was thinking, man, if she lives to my grandmother's age, she only got like 20 more years to go. If I was in my 60s, I'd be counting backwards, 19 years to go, 18 years to go. That's just how millenniums think, right?
Right.
I said, but if I live to my grandmother's age, I still got 50 plus years to go in life. And so when you think about life that way, it is just getting started for me. And for some of y'all that you think is too late, it's not. Life is just getting started. You have decades left in you for you to be great. You have decades left in you for you to change your life. You have decades left in you for you to be anything that you want it to be. It is never too late. And after 3+ decades being here, I feel like now that I've changed my mindset, because I still got another 50 more years in me, I feel like I'm just getting started. And so some of them may be just getting started. So they can find me on any platform. Lord, hope they don't take our favorite TikTok from us. That's my favorite platform, right? But I am Moneybag623 on every platform, and bags is with two G's. And yes, I am about my money. Okay. So you can literally find me on YouTube. I don't do a lot on YouTube, but you can find me on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok. Moneybag623.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, I appreciate you, Coach Brooks. Of course, we're going to have the information in the show notes as well, too, so that everybody can click through, connect, and follow up with you. But love that last point. I think so many times, again, we could think about what we don't have. We don't
Yep.
have enough time. We don't have enough energy. We don't have enough intelligence. We don't have this. We don't have that. But in reality, we have a lot more than we sometimes think, whether that be time, 50 plus years, 40,
Yes.
whatever it is, we have what we have. And the best thing that we can do is to execute and implement, like you said so well. So thank you so much for doing that. Of course, reminding us of doing that as well too. And I hope you have a phenomenal rest of the day.
You as well. Thank you so much for having me.